All right, what's the motherfucking deal, man? Welcome to the Den. Glad that you could join me this afternoon. I am your host at Honcho. The Den is the best conversation on the internet, and the reason why this is the best conversation on the internet is because of you wonderful people, aka the Den folk, the denizens, the Den generates, the friends of the Den. And when you express your thoughts, you call in, you share. Somebody said I'd said something the other day about the people must be heard. And they said I should start implementing that into, the intro. And I was thinking about that. And I do believe that is very important. I think that is what makes the Den so great, because it's kind of where we're at the topic today, man versus society. And woman too, I guess, since we gotta be PC these days. Because I think the Den, you have a conversation in the Den, and then you look at what's going on in the world around us, and you can say, oh, well, it's because of the certain topics that you talk about that only certain people go. But I think we have a variety, right? Look, there you go. Look at this. And I think it's because we have such a variety of people from different places, different locales, and beliefs that all come into the Den. And I think that, I don't know if it's a true microcosm of society. I don't know if it is, but I think as a whole, it's different from the stuff that the media pushes to you. It's different from the stuff that the news tries to tell you is what's going on. Different perceptions, different beliefs. And so that's kind of what I want to talk about today is when I say man versus society. I want to talk about the individual versus what society tells you you should be, you should believe in, what's really going on. Just maintaining your own personal belief systems compared to society systems that they set up for you to try to buy into or try to convince you to buy into. And hopefully we'll hear about the government. So, let's get into it, man. Let me click my favorite little button here, and I'm gonna disappear if I pull a Houdini on you for just a second while I adjust a couple of things in the background. But let's see what we have. First of all, let's do the personal housekeeping, and then we'll get to who we have joining us in our society today. At Honcho HTX, you can catch my personal social medias on Instagram and Twitter. If you like those platforms, I'm usually on there every now and then. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and share the video with friends. Sharing is the most important thing you can do because we know how YouTube does. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all Den Show Live. You want to send an email, denshowlive@gmail. A little bit late today. I made a mistake on some of my graphics, so I had to push everything back because I had to fix everything, and I had some stuff set up. So that's why we're a little bit later today at 1:30 instead of 1 o'clock. If you want to listen, you can't watch, you want to listen, go to Den Show Podcast. You want to get some of that live Den Show merch. Shout out to everybody. I saw that there have been a few sales, and I want to say turkey flambe. Shout out to them, man. Came in with a nice intro, and they showed some love. I believe they grabbed some merch yesterday. Again, if you want to, where was I at? Oh yeah, they'll get the Den Show merch. If you want to call the Den at any time, 833-284-3336. You can call the Den. You can send text messages. I saw somebody just sent me some information actually right before the Den started. If you have a news, you want to send a screenshot, you have a funny meme or something you'd like to share, pictures that may be related to a topic that we've discussed, anything like that you want to send, feel free to do that, and I'll try to implement that into the streams if possible. If you want to make a one-time donation to the channel, you can go to streamlabs.com/The Den Show. And shout out to everybody who has been showing love, and those of you trying to sell me out of my shirt for $12.32 for y'all. And if you want to be a monthly supporter of the community, you can go to patreon.com/The Den Show, and you can support there and make a monthly pledge to the community. Shout out to Miss Grace, Betty Spaghetti, Goya, Stina Starry-Eyed James, Diana, Dan, and Donald Trump, and I appreciate all of the love. And again, stay forward. Looking forward to some things coming out for you guys today. And apparently, some of y'all have been to Old Kush Den. That's a terrible place. Terrible place. Sometimes it ain't always good to go down memory lane, but hey, it is what it is. Let's see who we have joining us today, and let's get into some good conversation. Let's get into some excellent conversation today with you wonderful people. Yes, you people. Miss Meat V. Darko, what's the motherfucking deal? Avoid the raisins and the potato salad. I hope you didn't run into any of that this holiday weekend. DeMarkey, what's the motherfucking deal? Nachos, what's the motherfucking deal? Ruby Roo. Let me see who we have joining us. Nikki Napping, motherfucking Nicole. How you doing, Miss Nikki? It's always good to see you. I mean, everybody can't be perfect. You know, some people have to live in Dallas, I guess. Marie Lovely, what's the motherfucking deal? Baker Man, what's the motherfucking deal? Let me see. Heidi. Heidi. Let me see. Shannon Jones, what's the motherfucking deal? Kate Grace, Miss Grace, it's always good to see you. D Love, what's the motherfucking deal? Miss Bell, always love to see Miss Bell. Let me see. One, what's the motherfucking deal? Jahir, what's the motherfucking deal? Wow, somebody reported a video. Wow, somebody reported a video in the group. Wow, terrible shenanigans. Who did such a thing? We're gonna have to start pointing fingers. Morgan Clark, what's the motherfucking deal? Glad you could join us. White Persuasion, OG, triple OG. I think White Persuasion has he's triple OG status. He's triple OG status. And let me see again. If I missed you, I ain't dish you. Make sure you're in the live chat and not the top chat because, well, hey, the live chat's where it's at. Top chat, well, as some people say, you get the continental breakfast there, but that's about it. So, talking about society, talking about, you know, the individual versus society, man versus society, man or woman, you know, man or woman versus society. And you have issues, I think, we come into today because now we talk about liberal media, we talk about the government, we talk about social media, we talk about all of these things and how they impact us on a day-to-day basis. And you have sometimes the media fighting with the government, social media against the media, the government against these things, and the people versus everything, because there's so many different people on different sides that there's somebody validating every argument and there's somebody arguing about it. Let me, I got a question real quick before we get into this, man. Sometimes I think people fabricate stories and really make shit up to just really complain about stuff. Like I've been seeing everybody talking about, oh, everybody's mad about the Black Little Mermaid. I have not seen anyone. Maybe I'm not looking, maybe I'm not digging deep enough into the recesses of the internet, but I have not seen anyone complain about a Black Little Mermaid. I've just seen people claim that people are complaining about a Black Little Mermaid. Like, I've yet to see it. Like, I've been looking, but I have not seen anybody, you know, people complaining, because usually when somebody says, oh, look, people are complaining about this, they'll like, especially on Twitter, they'll either retweet it or they'll, you know, put the little quote tweets or look, this person complained about this. I've yet to see it. I've seen nobody complaining about it, but like there's this fabricated, I've seen more people complaining about people allegedly complaining about a Black Little Mermaid. Like, I've seen nobody say anything negative that there's a Black Little Mermaid. Motherfucker made a whole Instagram page that they mad about. Man, shoot me that link. I would like to see it because maybe I'm not looking in the right places. I'm like, I've seen more people complaining about that people are complaining about. Like I've seen hundreds of posts of people, this, that, and the third. I don't give a fuck about the Little Mermaid. That's another conversation. We're going to get into, like I said, we're going to have a conversation this weekend because I think that might end up being an extended end when we have that conversation. D. Nelly, what's the motherfucking deal? Glad you could join us. So, like I say, I'll have to see. Sometimes I think, honestly, people make stuff up so then they can argue about like what somebody said. I think people like, they make the shit up, they'll do the shit, and then create the controversy to say that somebody else did. We've seen stories like that before. We've seen, you know, a lot of faux outrage before. But anyway, getting back to it, but society, right, and how much it's changed and where we are. And so what I want to talk about is how much of your beliefs are supposed to change. How much should you stay steadfast in your beliefs as opposed to what society tells you? You know, now the whole pride thing is a big deal. We've talked about, you know, drag queen story hour and issues that we have with that. But then, you know, there's a lot of people who are protesting it, but it seems like maybe it's the energy involved with it, that there's more people supporting it that are actually going to it than the people that are protesting. But I think there's probably more people who are against it, but they're just not going, right? Rashida, what's the motherfucking deal? So, you make a black prince while I picked the red. But aren't there other, didn't they have a black princess, or wasn't it like a frog princess or something like that? You know, my thing is that, we'll get to that. I'm going to say that for a whole other conversation. I don't know. We might talk about it tonight. I have no idea, because it's some things that need to be talked about. But getting back to it. So, your personal beliefs compared to what society pushes. Now, I'm a firm believer in change, making progress. When you understand things, if they make sense, then you adjust your personal belief, you adjust your belief systems as you go. But to me, that is information that you seek out and that you apply to yourself, not because society is telling you, hey, well, this is okay now, right? Well, so you need to support this. Because this can go on a whole bunch of things, right? Because at one point in time, blacks were not considered, they were 3/5 of human beings. And then there was changes. So people who were slow to adapt to that. You can apply that logic to a lot of different things. And so, this could scale a wide variety of topics. But I want to know how much of it is, and me personally, I believe that you should always go with your core values, that your belief system should come first and foremost overall. And we've seen people who've suffered for that, and we've seen people who have changed the world for that. And again, your belief systems could be hatred, right? Your belief system could be something about love, and it could be people who want to change the world. We want everybody to embrace everybody. We want races to be separate. We want to be segregation. It could be anything. Your belief system could be anything. So this is why I say it can be a very sketchy topic. Your personal core beliefs compared to what society is pushing, compared to what the government is telling you, compared to what social media is telling you. We've seen a lot of backlash from creators on a lot of these various platforms because a lot of these big tech companies are extremely left-leaning, from Google to Twitter to Facebook, which also owns Instagram, Google, which owns YouTube, and all these other things. And we've seen that there have been adjustments and tweaks in the algorithms and things that promote a certain ideology that I don't think a lot of people, I won't say a lot of people don't support, but you haven't missed much, Miss Janet. I got started a little bit late myself. Shout out to Professor Trio. What's the motherfucking deal? And so my thing is, how much of it is okay to support only your belief system, only go by your set of beliefs, or how much of it is that society has rules and standards for the overall advancement of the people. But now, if you look out throughout history, every culture, every society, every national power, every whatever you want to call it, reaches a point where their power peaks, and then a certain belief happens where the people think, well, we're all safe, or we're all this, or we're all that. And then a decline happens, and it happens rapidly, right? And I almost feel like the United States of America is reaching that point. I'm going to be honest with you. These are my personal beliefs. I feel like we're reaching that point because you have so many people, and it seems like trying to undermine everything that the other party does. There's no unity. There's no continuity in belief, especially at the time. We can talk about, excuse me, the coffee got me burping. We can talk about Democrats versus Republicans. We can talk about all of that stuff. You can see it on the lower levels too. And so I think that when you start trying to embrace everything and accept everything, and you start to undermine the values and principles that something was built on, it starts to create that downfall, because everything, and again, I'm a super believer in everything is not for everybody. Everybody doesn't get to win. You can win if you decide to win, but no, everybody doesn't get to win by default. I don't believe in that because I don't think it's fair to people who work hard that everybody should just get a handout. Everybody should get to feel privileged. If you don't work for it, if you lay on your fucking couch all day, you shouldn't feel the same way as a person who's grinding out there working 18 hours a day, on a rig somewhere or wherever else, who is providing hard for their family and doing whatever it takes to succeed. Like, you shouldn't get to feel the same level of respect as the doctors or the lawyers who put in work, who may save lives or free people from jail or put away people who need to be put away, whatever it may be. You shouldn't get to feel that. If you don't put in the work, you shouldn't get to feel a certain level of, I don't want to say respect. I think everybody doesn't deserve respect because there's a lot of shitty people out there, but you shouldn't feel as good about yourself as the people who put the work in. You know what I mean? If you're not putting in the work, if you're on the couch eating Haagen-Dazs, or you the motherfuckers out here running around licking ice creams, you shouldn't feel you shouldn't get clout for shit like that. You shouldn't feel respected. You shouldn't feel honored. You shouldn't deserve those feelings. But we're living in a society now where everybody should be everything, and this person deserves it. No, the fuck they don't. And it may sound fucked up, but I feel that way. I feel that way personally, right? So that's just me. Again, you may disagree. Those are my belief systems, opposed to what society says. Society says we should give out participation trophies for everybody. You show up, you deserve pizza and cookies and a trophy. I am opposed to that. I don't think people progress. I don't think people win. I don't think people learn. I don't think people earn and become better versions of themselves by the participation trophy. You know what I'm saying? And so my thing is this, right? My thing is this. I want to know how you guys feel, right? And I'm not gonna take up a whole bunch of time. I'm gonna try to wrap it up here with my spiel and my monologue. I'll be clear with you be talking too long. That's why we don't get to call in now, because y'all don't be wanting to call. Y'all better get active on this motherfucking line. But shout out to each and every one of you, because the thing I respect the most about the Den folk is sometimes we have conversations in here that I know for some people can be tough. I know some people can vehemently disagree, but to those of you who show up time and time again, even if it's to fuss and fight and argue, or to share your side or whatever it is, that the conversation doesn't always favor everybody, but yet you still come back and you still stand firm and you still stand tall and you share your thoughts, your views. That is respectable. Everybody except for Jair. But I just want to say thank you guys for making this community what it is, and let's open it up. Let's make it shake. Well, White Fred, you get free pizza all the time. You got all the orange slices. Yeah, you look. No free pizza. You can have the orange slices, right? Orange slices. You get. Everybody. Orange slices for everybody. Everybody needs that vitamin C, right? I don't want anybody getting scurvy. But free pizza? No. Nuh-uh. No justice, no pizza. A black Mulan? Oh, now we're culturally appropriating, right? But we're gonna have that conversation real soon. I think it's gonna be extremely interesting. I can't wait to have it, and I really feel like that's gonna have to be I'm thinking maybe, well, not Friday, because Friday nights are Talking Dirty After Dark. So maybe Saturday night we'll have a very interesting conversation about some things and about people and their beliefs and what's going on in society, and kind of a better understanding as to why I think the way I do about things, and maybe that'll give some of you a better understanding as to my personal beliefs. Some of the newer folks, some of the older folks know why I feel how I feel, because we've had this conversation a time or two. Okay, well, let me let this do what it does, and then I'll open up the line shortly after this. I must have the volume low on that. Okay. Let's kill all this noise. Wow, that's terrible. That is terrible. Shout out to the Den folks, man. They all sent me some funny fucking shit. There's a meme apparently somebody sent with, y'all remember that movie Four Brothers? And so somebody replaced the Four Brothers with Jesse Smollett, R. Kelly, Bill Cosby, and Tekashi 6ix9ine. That is hilarious. Hilarious. Let's get ready. Let's open up this line. Let's talk some shit. You want to talk some shit? Let's talk some shit. Oh, all right. Man, we got hair all in my ear and shit. Let's get this shit out of there. All right. And yes, for those of you Sauce Sports supporters, I will have some sauce. We will drip some sauce today. I've been thinking about something, man. And it's something I talk about often, and this is definitely saw sports conversation, but we're gonna definitely talk about it. We definitely talk about it. We will definitely talk about it. Cleopatra. Well, we'll talk about that. So, like I'm saying though, with personal beliefs and belief systems and things like that, there also is, I guess, a good and a bad, because we talked about dark places, we talked about, individual feeling, and society, I guess, encourages you not to be that way. But society tries to tell you to take all kind of medicines, and you realize, you ever think about this, there's like a medicine for every fuck. There's a medicine for living. Are you living? Are you living too good? Well, you got to take this medicine. You got to calm the fuck down. Side effects are death, but take it. My thing is like, you can also have personal beliefs that are limiting beliefs. And what I mean by that is, those are the type of things that get you in those dark places when you don't feel like you're adequate enough. You don't feel like you are talented enough. You don't feel like you have a certain skill set, or you're afraid to move forward. Those limiting beliefs are the things that don't allow you to grow as a person. And then that's where I think society does play maybe a positive role, because when you look out into society, you can see, there's a medicine for being broke. It's called Viagra, if your dick is broke. But only lasts for 4 hours. But so my thing is, like, you have society does try to encourage people to be, I guess, the best versions of themselves, but there's a point in which it starts to try to make you believe in things that you shouldn't. Teach y'all only one lie. What's the motherfucking deal? Okay, yes, let me see that. Man, you don't even know what an Algerian is. You ain't never even seen one. It's like one of them damn, what do they call them? What are those things? The avatars? Yeah, you ain't never seen one. But anyway, like I say, society, man, and it has pluses. It does have positive, because I think society as a whole wants people to be great. But then I think there's a point where it interferes with, the natural order, the natural structure of things. So, you talk about how government plays into it, right? When we talk about the beefs between the media, the government, et cetera, et cetera. The media trying to make a gay Spider-Man. The government taking all the LGBT language out of certain rules, laws, and regulations, right? Danny B. Moore, what's the motherfucking deal? Glad you could join us today. And so, like I say, there's roles. So again, that's where personal beliefs come into play. Oh, word? That is interesting. Let me say that. But, the thing about that is, where do your personal thoughts come into play, and where's the line drawn? Is it always you first? Is it society first? Should you make decisions? And that's kind of the way I think. Like, I'm gonna say like 72% of the time, the majority of my thoughts are, well, what decision benefits society as a whole mostly? I don't always I think about what's going to improve my life, of course, but at the same time, we all have to share this planet, this country, whatever. I don't think most people think like that. I don't think most people do. I think most people are selfish, and there's nothing wrong with that. Again, because it's about improving your life too, right? So I think most people are selfish first. So what is going to benefit me and my family and me most? I try not to think that way. I try to think, okay, well, what is going to benefit me, but what is going to improve the lives of people around me? And then where do I still get some type of residual benefit from that? It's not 100% about, me first. And so that's how I try to base decisions. But then there are just certain things that I'm not going to accept. There's certain things I'm not going to embrace. There's certain things that I'm not going to encourage, regardless if it benefits me, it doesn't benefit me, if it benefits society more so or whomever else. Because certain things just don't make sense, right? And so there's that, right? I hear nobody cares about what you're talking about. So, again, these are very, very important questions. And so, like I said, I want to know from y'all. Now, I don't want to hear nothing. Like I say, when the deadline started winding down, I don't want to hear nothing. When ain't nobody called in talking about, oh, yeah, there ain't enough time. Like, what is more important? Is it more important to have personal advancement, or is it more important for society to make progress into becoming a better society? And again, I've already said that I feel like we've reached a certain point, and I think now we're going to be headed on towards the downfall. Because what's going to happen is, I'm going to tell you personally, this is my personal beliefs. There's a lot of stuff. I talk about a lot of stuff at the den, and I probably only share about 35% of the things how I really feel about a lot of stuff. There's a lot of conversation. There's a lot of things I really don't get into. And I keep it extremely vague for a reason. But I believe Trump will be reelected, right? Wholeheartedly believe Trump is going to be reelected. But what happens is there's usually this back and forth. Again, you got conservative in for a few years, serve a term, maybe 2 terms. Democrat goes in for a few years. Serve a term, maybe 2 terms, depending on, how good or bad of a job they do. Because society tends to revolt a little bit. So right now, Trump is a very polarizing figure, if you will. And you have so many people geared up. I mean, like I said, you have big tech companies trying to alter and skew search results. You can't listen to certain people who speak their own personal truths because they're saying things that they don't want you to hear. They don't want you to recognize that is really going on because, well, that makes certain people look bad. And these people have large followings or whatever it may be, so they have the ability to sway certain segments of society. We gotta deplatform, we gotta dethrone these guys. But yet, old buddy who started that whole Steven Crowder thing, it was encouraging people to throw milkshakes at people, right? Why hasn't he been deplatformed? Because he's inciting violence, and that's what happened to the little Asian dude. Andy go, but throwing milkshakes at him, right? With cement in them and stuff like that. So isn't that very unfortunate? So what happens is, yeah, and I agree, exactly. And that's the thing, I'm not against anybody. I'm not against anybody. Hey, I'm not against rap. We're not against rappers. But we are against those thugs. Thugs. So a lot of y'all don't even know about that. But, my thing is, I think Trump will be reelected. And then what's going to happen after that is there's going to be like this huge push, right? Just this huge pushback. Because when Trump first got elected, there were people that were committing suicide and doing all this other stupid stuff because they just thought the world, like, that's the power of the mind. Like, nothing happened. Pride is bigger than ever. All this other stuff is bigger than ever. But people felt like, oh, Trump's going to get reelected. He's going to wipe out. So I'm going to kill myself. No, you wiped yourself out. Trump didn't do anything to you. Your mentality, your false beliefs are doing this to you. And very interesting. So I'm gonna have to look into this. But there's gonna be a lot of backlash, right? Because you're gonna feel like 4 more years. You already see these goofy Antifa people in the streets. I put them on the background a little bit. I'm trying to get a little bit better with the thumbnail game. Trying to trigger and troll a little bit. I guess that's what gets the reaction. But you see like these Antifa clowns and people like that. They're out there protesting a whole bunch of nothing. And hey, those are my nudes, and you stay out of that. Heidi, the hater. Take all the dudes I want. I'm just joking. I'm joking, but I'm serious, but I'm joking. But no, seriously though, you know, the thing about it is there's going to be, I think, a lot of civil unrest either way it goes, right? I think it's going to be an issue either way it goes, you know. And what I'm saying about that is because you see people on the Democratic side, they're sneaking illegal aliens in, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's like, why are you doing this? You see Cory Booker running across the border to bring in illegal aliens. Like, and the funny thing about it, these are people who are already in the amnesty program. You know, that they're waiting for their 45 days for their court date. What they do is they send them back to Mexico. It's not all Mexicans, it's people from other countries too, but they send them to Mexico for the 45 days to come back for their court date. And so you're going to help people who are already in the program to sneak back across the border. Like, what is that? What is that doing to really help people? And again, and people aren't really seeing what's going on because a lot of people are emotionally attached to maybe one or two things that either side is supporting, and that's how they get entrenched into the rest of it. Because now I tell you, it's no longer about politics; it's about party. That's it. It's party lines. Doesn't matter if none of the rest of the shit makes sense or not. That's just kind of where it is. But like I said, I think Trump will get reelected again. It will happen, and the people who are already raging on the left, you know, a couple of years into his term, are going to go even more nuts. They're going to lose it, and they're going to do more crazy shit, and they're going to sway the mentality of the people. And so then what's going to happen is you're going to get an extremely far left politician will follow up Trump. That's if we ain't all went to shit by then. The next one will be some extremely far left politician. I mean, we're talking Bernie AOC-ish, somewhere in that area, right? And that's when the people who are standing in their personal beliefs versus the societal beliefs, that's when it's going to come to a clash. That's when it's going to come to a head. That's when it's going to be an issue, you know. So yeah, and that's what I really think. Like, that's why I truly believe that a downfall is coming, and it's happening from within. It's not going to be some outside power. I think that they're just kind of sitting and waiting because they see it. I mean, everything's on television, everything is on the internet, so they're just sitting and waiting. They don't have to sow any discord. They don't have to do anything to hurt America. They're just sitting and waiting because the people are doing it from the inside. Because you have people who have these crazy beliefs that undermine everything that has made America what it is to this point. And then you have people who are trying to hold steadfast to those, and it's a lot of civil unrest. I won't say it's a civil war, but there will be a lot of turmoil. There will be a lot of things taking place. And I think within the next, I don't even think it's going to be 10 years. And that's just me being honest with you, you know. That's just me being honest with you. It's well, everybody, Sweetberry's here. I guess the stream is over with. It was all good. Now it's ruined. We were having a great stream too. I was kind of trying to stay on point, and I was doing everything. I was trying to keep everything on up and up. But the biggest pistachio thief in the game is in the mix. Yeah, but I don't believe it. I don't think it's gonna be more than 10 years. And so, you know, hopefully you have all your ducks in a row, whatever you got planned on. If you Second Amendment right believer, make sure you you ready for that. And the thing about it is, it's gonna be a tough situation. If you're a person talking about you're gonna slide out. Well, hopefully you got your passport in order. Get you a couple of stamps now while you work. I mean, you can do whatever you feel, but I'm being honest, just the way it is. And then again, once this, especially the mentality of this newer generation, they've been infiltrated already. I don't think there's much to save the newest generation, this youngest generation. They've already been indoctrinated by the cartoons and all that. So by the time they become a voting age, by the time they become, like I said, even 10 years from now, You're talking about 7, 8, 9, 10-year-olds. They're already trained in their way, right? They're locked in. It's almost there's no convincing them, because again, like I said, the cartoon, the YouTube, the stuff that is being promoted to them, it has infiltrated their minds, and I'm being honest with you. They're gonna look. Let me be careful before YouTube start thinking I'm Honcho Jones over here. But this is, like I say, these are just things that I look at, and again, like I say, I don't align myself really with either side. I just look at what's going on, and so I think that sometimes I have the ability to step back and just look, and I'm just like, wow, it doesn't make sense, because again, I told you I used to be more of a liberal belief. I used to be more kind of one-sided about a lot of things, but then I looked at the majority of what they got going on, and it's a lot of the stuff that's getting pushed that is in coordination with the rest of those beliefs. It's just like, I can't do it. It's like, I can't do it. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. A lot of the stuff that you're pushing, it's ridiculous, and it's not, you can't really justify it. And so, again, if they get their way, and if they, look, life is unfair. It just is that way. Some people are born with, I won't say deformed, they're born unique. They're born without, certain things that we take for granted on a daily basis, right? It's unfortunate for them. There's no change in that. There's not enough technology in the medical field to fix all of the problems. Some people are born in countries where shit is just fucked up. But does that mean we take all of these people in? So you're telling me we're supposed to take millions and millions of people in when we sit here and talk about the problems in our own country, right? We sit here and we talk about the problems within America that aren't fixed. How do you think those problems are benefited when you're bringing in thousands, hundreds of thousands, possibly millions of people to come join the problem party, right? Let's pass the collection plate. And so these are my things. Again, these are my personal beliefs in what's going to happen with society as a whole. And again, I think it's going to be, I think it's only going to get worse. What happens when you add more people to the problem, to convolute the problem? You're already talking about we don't have enough money for this, we don't have services for this. Well, we can just tax everybody. How are you going to tax everybody? Right. So what happens when everybody gets taxed? Well, they're going to be upset because the money that they're working for is going to somebody else. And they're not benefiting because people are already saying, well, my money doesn't go as far as it went or it used to go already. You know what I mean? And now you want to tax it to give it to other people so they can have benefits that they don't have to contribute towards. I understand. Let me tell you another reason. Like I told you why a lot of my beliefs changed, because like I said, I was put in a setting and I got to really sit down and talk to a lot of conservative people when I was working at that restaurant, setting up that network and doing some other things. But really having a chance to sit down with people that I always heard about, never really had, conversation with. Well, when you're in one echo chamber and they always say, oh, these people are this, they're this, they're this, they're this, they're this, and you never have that experience. This is belief system. I guess this ties into it, right? Personal man versus society, my personal beliefs. And sitting down and having conversations with these people. About life, and I would ask, well, hey, why do you believe this? I never really talked to them. I really ask, and well, this is why we, support this, is why I support this, and this, because, I came up from this, and, I built, this, and this, and again, some of these people were extremely well off. I think one of these motherfuckers had a helicopter. I was trying to get a helicopter ride, goddamn. But, so, my thing is just like, okay, I can understand a man who's built himself from nothing, who felt like he had to work for everything that he did. Because most people see somebody rich and, oh, well, they just got their money handed down. We don't look at the people who actually work hard for what they believe in. And so we associate them with being greedy or whatever. But then what you don't look at the side of the people who work hard, people who make money, who create businesses and things like that. They're giving these other people opportunities to feed their family, right? We don't take that into account. The person who may be making all this money, they created a system, they created a business where it employs other people to be able to feed their family. Should the person who owns the business make significantly more? Yes, absolutely. They shouldn't. They shouldn't be. They should not be making the same as much as the people as much money as the people they employ. Right? Why? Because, well, I created this. I made this. And the more money I make gives me the opportunity to create more opportunities for more people. If you're just a worker, and this is not knocking a worker, you need workers, you're not creating an opportunity for someone else. But if you are an owner, if you are and that's funny too, that fucking government, I mean, that's a government, well, government too, but the NBA pissed me off, right? Like, yeah, niggas, we gotta stop being so sensitive about certain shit, right? Well, I had to fire up the black because I'm getting mad. Right? Really? Are we really? Is there really backlash about motherfuckers being called owners in the NBA? Look, these rich niggas pissing me off, right? They really just don't even know what the hell is fucking going on, right? You know what I'm saying? This is the craziness. They're upset because the people who own the teams are called owners. The NBA probably has more leeway. I mean, look at what all the players just did. They all ran together and built a bunch of super teams. The NBA probably has more leeway than any other fucking league as far as freedom of movement, as far as choices they get to make, as far as the power that an individual has over a whole team. And they're crying about people being named an owner. Hey, if you have a home, are you a homeowner? Right? If you have a car, are you a car owner, a vehicle owner? Like, word, Barry, that dude, Barry, man, there's a, Barry McCogniz, that's hilarious, but Sports Talk Barry is probably one of the greatest accounts. There's a chick, I want to say, well, you know, an account. I think it's Tatiana McGrath. And it's like the Barry McCockner of political fucking talk. But she's like the super liberal Barry McCockner. But it's super hilarious. It's like one of the greatest fucking accounts that ever I thought, man, it's hilarious. It's super fucking hilarious. But, you know, but my thing is that the thing is that, right, you own something, you are an owner, right? Female pimp, you ain't black, so you don't get to say that. You don't get no say so. Eat some tortilla chips, goddammit. And email me some. But my thing is this. If anywhere else in any other aspect of society, if you own something, you are an owner. And they're going to change the names to, and everywhere else they want to change the names. I mean, they want to change the names to governors or something like that. Well, hello, female pimp. Unique Rides, Kenesha, what's the motherfucking deal? Welcome to you all. Savage Donald Trump, what's the motherfucking deal? I shared that picture on the ground. But my thing is this, right? My thing is this. Why is this a thing? If you own a car, you're a car governor? Or are you a house governor now? Like, what's the fucking problem? Like, with it being called an owner? They're not calling you a slave owner. They're not calling you master. You know what I'm saying? Like, it would be something different if they would say, well, the team master has decided to trade. Like, okay, yeah, that would be the trigger warning. You know what I'm saying? They would be like, whoa, hold on, pimp. Now, that's a different thing. But owner, this is triggering now. In baseball, they still have owners. In football, they still have owners. Like, that fucking shit kills me, dog. Like, what's up, Wink? What's the motherfucking deal? The owner shit kills me. Like, that's an issue. I own something. It's mine. You know what I'm saying? Scotty is my dog. I'm a dog owner. If you have a house, you're a homeowner. You're a car owner. Whatever, anything else that you buy, you purchase, that you implement, you own, a business owner. Like, but now it's governor. It's governor. Like to me, that's the stupidest fucking shit. Again, every other sports league has owners. It is what it is. That governor shit sounds dumb as fuck to me. It really does. But, you know, whatever. But again, like I say, you know, and it's crazy because they're talking about all these motherfuckers. Like, I don't get it. I know they say money doesn't buy happiness. Well, I think that's a lie. But because money presents opportunity, and opportunity brings you happiness, you know, choosing the right opportunities. But it seems like the NBA players are some of the most depressed motherfuckers. And they're like, how are the fucking you depressed? Like, what the fuck do you mean you're fucking depressed? About what? You make more money than everybody. You don't want to be on a team. You can force them to trade you. You can do like damn near anything you want to. How the fuck are you depressed? Anyway, I don't understand it. But going back to personal versus societal beliefs, right? So, again, things are going to, if not already, declining, you know, because it's super funny. I was talking about the Antifa shit earlier, right? Antifa, you literally got hundreds of motherfuckers in the streets bopping people on the head with flagpoles and doing even Antifa, they so questionable. They hit like a bunch of women. I think it's a lot of women behind those masks. They like I've been seeing them hit people with poles and little devices and things, and they look like the fucking fairy godmother, boop, popping people on the head and shit. And so my thing is, it's craziness. It's like, really? Maybe that's why you got a man. You want people to see how weak your wrists are, because you over there looking real questionable. But nobody's talking about that. These motherfuckers have really been in the streets for weeks, right? Then you have one of these other little groups, alleged Nazi protests. 9 fucking Nazis show up. It's like a family reunion or something. Not even that. They're just sound like a work lunch or something. Like, I could be by myself. You think I give a fuck about 9 Nazis or 9K? I don't give it. Man, come on with it. What you want to do? I'm not finna be intimidated by 9 fucking Nazis or whatever you want to call them. And half these motherfuckers look out of there, lopsided and shit. You think I give a fuck about these motherfuckers walking down the street? Absolutely not. I don't give a shit. But you got hundreds of motherfuckers in the street actually attacking people, actually doing shit. But because they're pushing a certain belief, a certain ideology, supporting a certain thing, nobody's talking about it. Literal attacks, sending people to the hospital for real. What is that shit? That's that other weirdo group, Proud Boys. They're out there. It's like 32 of them motherfuckers, you know what I'm saying? And a couple of lopsided chicks with them too. They are not hurting nobody, annoying maybe, you know what I'm saying? It's like, what the fuck they gonna do? That's causing no upset, but you literally have thousands of motherfuckers in the streets, hundreds of motherfuckers in the streets. And there are physical attacks. There are using weapons and throwing shit at people, and again, attacking individuals. But nobody's talking about that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying I'm supporting them, not saying if they start doing some wild ass shit, beat the brakes off their motherfucking ass. That's just how it is. The same way I would do with any of these other motherfuckers. Like, roll their motherfucking ass. But why remember, I mean, you see articles, you see headlines, a Nazi group appeared, and it was like 9 Nazis, and then it was like 900 fucking people showed up to oppose them. So it was like a way bigger, like, what are y'all intimidated by? I'd be like, oh, this is it. Yeah, let's go get something to eat. Fuck this stupid shit. Like, that's the crazy shit about it, though. Society. We talked about participation trophies. We talked about how being all-inclusive. Should everything always be all-inclusive? No. I don't think everything should be inclusive. This is just me personally. I don't think everybody should be allowed to do everything. I'm a firm believer in that. I don't think, you be cautious if I say this. I don't want to say race or sex should be dismissive, but I think that there should be standards for certain things. I don't think everybody should be allowed to do everything. Because if so, then what makes it special? You know, what makes it exclusive? If you let everybody in with everything, you know what I'm saying? So, yes, I'm here to see both sides. You pick a chip, female pimp. and I don't have to give a shit about stuff like that's the problem with people too. Is that people automatically assume because I feel this way, you got to feel this way because we have two things in common. It can be the most random ass shit in common, but because I feel this way, you should know. I don't live your fucking life. I'm not gonna react to shit the way that you do, and I'm more than likely more willing to handle shit a lot differently than you do. You know, like I say, it's cool. With all the fun and games, it's cool. But when we really get to talking about some real disrespect, and we get to really talking about it's gonna be a whole different ball game. But the thing is about me is I'm not gonna react to everything emotionally. That shit is tiring. Like, who has all that energy to do all this stuff, right? Who has the energy to respond to everything emotionally? Look, let's put some logic in this. This person popping off at the mouth. Are they legitimately a threat? Absolutely not. Fuck them. I ain't worried about them. Now, this person popping off and they looking like they ready to get real fried. Well then, hey, okay, well we gotta change our operating procedure here. So we gotta do something a little bit different. So, man, like every time somebody says something, who gives a shit? Like if they are weak and they're purposeless and they have no purpose, they're just running their fucking mouth. Let them run their fucking mouth. Who cares? Like, what is that doing to me? Absolutely nothing. But again, now if we're talking about a legitimate threat in a legitimate situation, well, you know, all the smiling and kikiing and shit, but we're gonna put that away for a little bit, and we're gonna look at the best way to handle this situation. It's that easy. It's that simple. But people get mad about everything. This doesn't make me feel good, and I'm mad about it. I can't give a fuck. What is it really doing? What is it really changing? How is it really impacting your life? You know, and if it doesn't have a direct impact on me, I cannot give a shit. There's too much other shit going on. What we talking about the other day? What you give your attention to is what's going to be the dominant focus in your life. And that can be a good thing, that can be a bad thing. Talk about belief system. Religion can be a belief system. And a lot of the stuff that is going on in society today is countering a lot of people's religious beliefs. So I think right now too, that's another element I didn't mention earlier when we were talking about, you know, media and government and now religion. But you see religion, and that's what makes you question certain things. Religion's starting to get involved with the government. I thought there was supposed to be a separation of church and state. I thought religious doctrines were not necessarily political doctrines, but you see a lot of that starting to get intertwined now. But to me, that's questionable. You know, that makes me question certain religion, certain aspects. I think that's very important. So, yeah, so when you focus solely on racial stuff, guess what? There's almost 400 million people in America? And you can look around the world, there's a few billion around the world. Guess what? Sometimes various races interact. And if you take every situation where people of different races interact and call it racist, you'll be able to find 100 fucking racist situations a day. Every situation where a person who is of one color is interacting with someone else is not a racial situation, but you have people who make a living off this stuff. Matter of fact, let me find that where that was posted. But they like a lot of people don't even realize this. There's certain people who make a living of telling you that everything is racist. Craig, you just had a fight recently, right? What race was your opponent, or what was the nationality of your opponent, if you don't mind sharing that? Because I mean, it's really this simple. It's really super simple. You know, but it's as easy as taking something that is, I won't say black and white, but then you're gonna call me racist. Heidi, he can answer for himself, okay? All right? So, fought a Mexican in Mexico. Was that racist? Was that a racist fight? You know what I'm saying? Should that be a racist fight? Is Craig a racist because he fought a Mexican? Craig, what is the maybe the nationality of the people that you've been training with your entire career? You know, I wonder if the people would like to know that. Exactly. And so my thing is, you can take an encounter between anybody and say, "Oh, that's racist. This is racist. This is racist." And sometimes people have differences. You have differences with people of your own race. You have differences with people of different races. You have differences between men and women. You have differences between cats and goats. I saw it. I saw it. The cat couldn't hold his own. But exactly, man. Got a call coming in. Finally, y'all acting like y'all been afraid to call. Like I said, I don't want to hear nothing when the time run out. What's the motherfucking deal? Who do we have calling into the den this afternoon? We'll take the next call. What's the motherfucking deal? Who do we got calling into the den this afternoon?
Man, it's your boy.
Roman Reigns. What's the motherfucking deal, Roman?
Man. I haven't been in the den for a couple streams, man. But man, I've been having some things to do, man. Been a little busy, so but I'm back now.
All right. What's on you? God damn it, Craig. What's on your mind there, Roman?
All right, man. So put me up, Honcho. We talking about what? You said man versus society.
Man versus. So we're talking about belief systems. So as an individual, man and woman, we're all inclusive here. I don't want anybody over here. I don't want anyone over here saying that I'm excluding the women. Oh damn, that was a decent comeback. God damn it.
You gonna have Rashida response on them on your ass, man.
Yeah, I gotta make sure everybody look. The den is all inclusive. Like a Acapulco resort. But so we're talking about your personal beliefs versus society's beliefs. And so where do you stand as a man, and then where do you stand fast in your own personal beliefs, and where do you accept society's beliefs, and where's that line drawn, and what you agree with as an individual compared to what you disagree with what society is?
Okay. That's a hell of a question. That's what they need to be asking the debate. Okay. Well, I think with me, with personal and society beliefs, man, I think your best bet is to not make them core line. So what I mean by that is not make them, like, interact with each other. Like, always keep a distance of how you feel about something, Like, a good example, I think, like, church and state. I agree with church and state needs to be separated, because that always caused a big issue. With always the government restrictions on that, religion restrictions on that. I feel like that's the thing about personal belief, which is religion. And when it comes to, of course, state, which is a thing is, which is a society, which something you follow. Another good thing I've always heard is kind of like the Confederate flag. The thing is, that gets core-aligned with the thing of a personal and then a state, because what like a northerner or somebody else that's not from Texas, not from the deep country, they see that as, the Confederate flag, racism, slavery, the Confederates, Robert E. Lee, blah, 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 blah. You go ask the country person about that same flag, you're going to get a whole different answer. You're going to get, well, this is my heritage. This is how follow my religion. So I think the best thing to do, because when you think about that, when it comes to that, it always causes a riot. I see like how in your thumbnail, it's like a riot. It causes a riot for what you believe. So I think your best bet to really like keep it at bay. We're just the shit. If you believe something, don't make it match with something else that you also believe. So that's my answer for it.
Okay. So what are your own personal beliefs versus what is a personal belief that you have that is probably not in line with society?
Oh, that's a good question. Let me think for a minute. Personal belief that man, come on with society, bro. I would say probably, yeah. Let me think. Okay, I got one. I would probably say like how I feel about like probably how I am with Democrats and all that. The thing is, I was kind of like I gave you example with my grandma. I think what a social belief, and I think the typical what me supposed to be as a black person. I'm supposed to be a Democrat. I'm supposed to just like everybody and go over this. But with me, I'm more like I do some research on your ass. I'm more just I don't like you because I know something about you. So I would say that's something different from how I feel, than what it's supposed to be. Because you look at society, all Democrats are supposed to be. I mean, all black people supposed to be Democrats. While me, I'm more of in like the independent sector. I mean, you got black conservatives, but you don't see them. I mean, you don't see them. You know, so I would say that's something that's probably a difference that I believe in, but in society is probably not what I'm supposed to believe in. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You know, um, and that's actually a good question, Honcho. Man, I really can't give you another answer, man. I had to really think about that one.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. And so, what is something that is society pushes? And again, like I said, there's different segments of society that they're pushing. Either via the media, either via from the government or
Mhm.
religious or I guess however you want to look at it. That you do agree with, that you do align your thoughts with.
Mhm. Um. Hmm. I think some that's like me that I personally think is probably more of a Republican mind of thinking. It's kind of like how I always say just how like the pushing the gay agenda. I thought that has been like widely and just accepted by black folks to the extreme. You get what I mean? I mean, we're allowing shit like these drag races and seeing our kids to watch this. That's not just black people, that's people in general. But I feel like who's getting hit with the gauge the most is white people. I mean, we watch all these loving. I don't watch them, but so many people. Unfortunately, so many people do. These loving hip hop, these basketball wives, these Real Housewives, all of them, and Atlanta. I'm saying that because that's sounding like that's all white people. It's always a gay character. It's always something being added on. It's always up. You gotta accept it. I mean, good example how we was looking at the Gillette. It was a black family. You know, it's always been there. Even like I realized if you watch a show, and shows normally, let's say it's a white show, the main character's white man, and they have a black friend, man, half that damn time the friend is motherfucking gay, bro. And it's like, what? That's not even realistic. So I think that's something that's widely pushed and widely accepted by black people that is probably not a social belief for me. It's not, man. That's something that I just look. Like I said, don't hate gay people. That's something way, man. I can't push my agendas on you, so I don't mean you should push it on me. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Anything else that you would like to add to it, or anything else that may be on your mind?
Um, no, man, that's it, man. I got some sports stuff to talk about, but this is the den, man. So I ain't got nothing.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a bet. Well, I appreciate you calling in, Mr. Roman, and sharing your thoughts.
Man, anytime, I tell.
All right.
All right.
Okay. Um, let me get what's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling into the den this afternoon?
Senor Sati, it's your favorite, the guy in K. What's going down, bro?
What's the motherfucking deal? Wait, what's on your mind, man?
Man, I don't know what's the subject about because I see I've been in here for a little bit, but I kind of the shit sound like it's all over the place. You got motherfuckers asking like, "What the fuck is Roman talking about?" Like all kind of crazy shit. I'm trying to figure out where the conversation is going because this motherfucker all over the place.
It's supposed to be your personal beliefs, as a man, as an individual, or a woman, for all y'all in the chat.
Oh yeah, you
Um,
can't exclude them.
yeah,
You know
yeah,
how that goes.
yeah. They're gonna tag me. They're gonna hit me with the dislike button.
Oh my God, it's not fair.
Or versus society. So basically, your personal beliefs versus society's beliefs. So where do you draw the line in what you agree with that society presents us, and where do you stand fast in your own personal beliefs. And so, basically the differences in kind of how you look at it like that.
You expending way too much time if you're going by societal belief, because societal beliefs will have you thinking beauty's supposed to be a certain way. You're supposed to think on a political status a certain way, you're morally, ethically, financially, what you should and you should believe in, and what the value of success is. Motherfucking society is lying like a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So it's best for you to take an individual approach to life, because if you're worrying about what society thinks, you're gonna be you in for a long motherfucking ride, because society's gonna throw you around, and it's too many isms such as classism, racism, socialism. It's just too much shit that you gotta account for, and it's not one way to live in America. Because that's the only we in America, so that's the only place we can talk about as it stands right now. But as far as my own beliefs, I mean, this phone call ain't long enough. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't even know what kind of beliefs anyone is even interested in hearing about. You would have to throw something out there, and then I would probably be able to expand on it if I have knowledge in that area. But
Okay.
as far as like one of my rules of thumb, bro, like the only thing I can say is just like be happy with yourself. I was just thinking to myself earlier, like there's nothing worse than a motherfucker who feel like they got a lot to kick it. Like I don't like motherfuckers like that, bro. Like I hate motherfuckers who are ashamed to be themselves. Nigga, if you corny, so what? Nigga, you can be corny and still have friends. You know what I'm saying? You can still be liked. You can still be respected. We just know we're gonna rank on you a little bit, but it ain't personal. You know what I'm saying? Like it is what it is. You're a little weird, but everybody got their own taste. You know what I'm saying? But just because you have your own taste don't mean that eventually you can't open somebody else's mind up and have different interests. You know what I'm saying? You could may not address. I used to shit on motherfuckers who used to want to wear like sweaters and the long little casual look. I wasn't really into that at first. I started seeing it, I tried it, and I was just like the little casual. Early on in high school, I was all about J, Bose, you know what I'm saying? Like this and that, I just wanted to have all my little urban wear, as they call it, But then when I started looking a little bit, I wouldn't say more sophisticated, because I always liked to wear like suits and shit like that, but like, I guess to say looking a little bit more grown up, if you feel, once you try some shit out, you just might like it. It just might fit you better than what you went to at first. You know what I'm saying? So I think people just got to keep their minds open. I mean, don't close yourself off. Don't close yourself off, from trying new things. That's to food. That's to, ideologies. You know what I'm saying? Because, you can listen to a motherfucker that's racist and like not agree with his message, but it can be some other thing. But that's just not one aspect of life.
Yeah.
I mean, he may be a racist, but that's not all he is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, just because somebody does one thing that you don't like, don't mean that they don't have other qualities about them that aren't deemed, feasible, for you to hang with on a daily basis. You can know how a motherfucker is. A motherfucker could think you're too crass. You may come off as arrogant or cocky, but a motherfucker ain't got to talk to you to know you to even know where the hell your mind frame is, because they haven't included any dialogue in their thought process. So, I mean, the most important thing about society in today's time is probably the dialogue. Without dialogue, where the fuck can you go?
Yeah.
Can't go anywhere. Like, you can't get nowhere. You can't get nowhere in your relationship. You can't get nowhere, on your business. If you want to start that, without dialogue, you can't even teach your kids shit. Because you got to be able to discuss things with your children. They have to be able to. You have to be open enough for them to be able to talk to you, so that they can reciprocate what you do wrong. So I mean, but that's just one question. But you was gonna ask me a question or something like that earlier.
Yeah. I'm just listening, but see, you actually made a couple of good points. First, when you was talking about dress and change, because we were talking about how society has progressed from old beliefs to new beliefs, and so when you were talking about, I remember that transition when it went from kind of Man, y'all remember how it was in the early 2000s? Niggas had the big ass shirts.
Yep.
You know, somebody hit me the other day talking about. Remember when it was talking
Yep.
about the funnies? They was talking about the Valero tees, but
Oh yeah.
but how niggas wear the big ass shirts, the big ass shorts, or whatever. You know how it was in the early 2000s. And then Kanye came
Right.
along a couple of years later, and then like I said, kind of started changing the game. And like you said, you was kind of hesitant to embrace it, but then you kind of started rocking with it, and it was cool. But now. And that's why I talk about certain changes cool. And this is where I think it changed from personal to societal. Like now, it's a different look, and I think you got to know what
Right.
you said, knowing where you draw the line at. I'm not gonna wear no skinny jeans. You know what I'm saying? The other stuff is cool. Like the other stuff, it was different.
I'll never conform.
Yeah.
I'll never conform because to me that's some sucker shit. Like,
Yeah.
why do you want? Yeah, I don't know, bro. I just feel like it's essential to sagging. Like, you just want other boys to be keyed in on your packages, and that's just not live, bro. Because it ain't just women that's out here, dick bulge watching. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be careful out there. There's some motherfucking creeps out here. It's a different type of creep, today. Like creeps in the 90s and earlier 2000s, even up to about 2010 and shit like that. They was creeps in a different way.
Yeah.
Creeps now are on a totally different level now. And like motherfuckers, today really think that they're setting trends and they not really doing nothing that I don't know, man. Like I don't motherfuckers is real weird today.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the behaviors and a lot of the shit that they say, and it's just like motherfuckers are really regurgitating shit that came before them, but it's new to them.
Yeah.
But it's just like old buddy told Jody, when he was setting up his mama TV, he was like, bro, you may think it's some new shit out here, but this ain't nothing but a rerun to me. You know what I'm saying? And that's essentially all this shit is. Like, it's the things that we thought was live when we was coming up, motherfuckers before us had already did, and now we in a generation where we in our 30s. We seeing how these young punks is coming up. We see they ain't got no guidance. I will give the generation now, because they coming into a technical age where advancements are far more superior than when we was coming up, when we seeing shit coming up the way that it came. And it's just like a lot of kids came in with the equation. You got kids that was born and don't know nothing but a black president.
Yeah.
So they looking at Trump like, who the fuck is this nigga? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, who the fuck is this alien? You know what I'm saying? Because all they ever known throughout their whole life was a black president. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's white kids, that's Asians, that's anybody. You know what I'm saying? That's looking through lenses and can be like, oh, the leader of the country is a black man. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's just like only one LA said, yeah, it ain't. I mean, I won't say no idea is original. I won't say that, but I mean, the thought process really doesn't stop. As far as nature's concerned, that's always gonna go on. A man and a woman's nature, an animal's nature, that shit ain't gonna change. The only thing that's gonna change is the ideology. That's it. Outside of how people think about certain issues is the only thing that's gonna be different. But as far as what a man is, what a woman is, that ain't changed. Who we are and what we are are two totally different things.
Okay, so about that, what you're saying right there, though, but then that's what I want to tie the two last thoughts you just had into about the ideology of what a man is and the idea of what that is and what a woman is, and then the technological aspect, because we know technology has infiltrated everything now. Just like you said, they have only known a black president. Well, all they know is the internet. Internet has always existed. They think it's invisible. Where does Wi-Fi come from? Whatever. But now the power of these people who are pushing a certain agenda, we know what it is. We know what last month was all about and everything, that are pushing that certain agenda, especially to the children. And we know they had some YouTube debacles and all that other stuff. How much of an impact do you think that's going to have on the future of society? Because I think right before you got in, I was kind of espousing my beliefs on what I think is going to happen within the next 10 years. I don't know if you had caught that or not, but what do you think how that technology plus the beliefs that the people who are running big tech companies and what they're trying to push to people, how much of that is going to have an impact on
we already seeing the downside to that shit right now, because motherfuckers feel a certain sense of entitlement. Attention has risen to a totally different level than attention ever could have had pre-social media, pre-internet, where the internet is really blowing up. You know what I'm saying? Like, motherfucker back in the day, all you wanted to get on the internet for, nigga, was to go get you some Dragon Ball Z pictures and watch porn. You know what I'm saying? But you needed a credit card. That was the only, like, early on, like, that's all you wanted to do, bro. Like, watch porn and get on and watch Dragon Ball Z, my nigga. Like, YouTube and shit like that wasn't around. You know what I'm saying? You probably, you know, do something else. You know, probably play a video game or something like that on the desktop computer at school or some shit like that. But did you really need to email somebody in 2000 for what? Chances are the other niggas that you wanted to email didn't even have a computer. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, you know, shit was moving a hell of a lot slower then. You had to go through way too much. You know, motherfucker pick up the phone and try to do this and do that. A lot of things that we talking about, a lot of these kids don't even know. I was just on YouTube and shit like that last night. I spent like the last 6, 7 hours, 8 hours of my life yesterday while I was playing Fight Night, bro. I came across like motherfuckers who was reacting to, like, I guess for the first time ever hearing like Tupac and shit like that, and they were listening to like various artists. I came across like this white guy and his daughter, and they were listening like to Tupac, and they were just giving like their reaction to like hearing rap for the first time and shit like that. And it's just like as important as Tupac was to the black community for those who listened to him, and it's not like he was just important to us, because he was important to a whole lot of people. But when you really consider the message, what the man stood for, yeah, he had a lot of duality. He had multiple sides. I can't even say it was two sides. He had his political side, he had his emotional side, he had his gooder side. The nigga shot cops. Like, the nigga shot cops and got away with it. He's the only nigga I ever known that did shot some police officers in the South, you know what I'm saying, and got off. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like that he was a motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like a lot of people don't even have a Tupac of this generation, but they're trying to. Now, mind you, people who didn't even live in the 90s, which is a lot of these young kids, you know, if you like 24, because Pac died was like, 20, 25 years ago?
Yeah, damn yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, like 20 was 96.
25 years ago.
Yeah,
like if you 23 and below, unless you actually done your research or unless you were around people who actually listen to Pac and they put you on, chances are you don't even understand the severity of what this man was talking about, where he was trying to lead his people, regardless of things that he was putting himself through and, you know, his maturation throughout his entire process. What he stood for was above rap and was above anything, honestly, in human form. If you really think about a lot of the shit that he really went through, you like, bro, this nigga really was going through a whole lot of shit that was reality for a lot of people. He put it in your face, and it's just like motherfuckers now don't even have to work. They don't have the same kind of worries that motherfuckers have had, and it's becoming a lot easier for them. I'm not saying everybody got to struggle or have no stripe or no shit like that. I'm not saying, you know, you got to go through a bunch of negativity just to be positive. Would never say that. But what I am saying is, when it comes to this technological, you know, realm that we in right now, motherfuckers feel like, oh, they just get it right now. You know, if I want attention, nigga, I'll just go get on motherfucking on Instagram or something, bloviate, and niggas will care about it. But you really don't give a fuck about them. Like, you know, motherfuckers who cover, you know, maybe these new generation of women and shit like that, bro. Like, these new generation of women, they love to sit here and talk about motherfucking men is thirsty and shit like that. But these bitches got shit like that in they headline and they tags and captions and shit talking about thirst trap. Like, bitch, you going out of your way to take your clothes off, set up a camera, push play, twerk for a nigga for a minute, and then you want to call a nigga thirsty, bitch? You out of there. Like, and at the end, and then got the nerve to call the motherfuckers who follow him fans. Like, bitch, you don't even have any talent. But at the end of the day, that's what we're on in today's time.
But who's to blame for that? Is it the women or the men who allow that to happen?
Man, it's both. But I mean, but at the end of the day, a man seeing some ass, that's a natural response for him to like ass if he's a heterosexual male.
Yes.
I mean, who cares? You know what I'm saying? Like, we doing what the fuck we supposed to be doing. Like, at the end of the day, nigga, that's entertainment. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I mean, how is he really, the issue? He hit the like button, but at the end of the day, that's what the fuck she was in it for. That's the whole reason she got an Instagram. She looking at other bitches, she like, oh, I look better than this bitch, so at the end of the day, let me go ahead and do this so I can get some attention too. The bitch will act like she ain't doing it for attention, but that's all it's for in the first place. These goofy motherfuckers doing the same poses. They get in the car doing the same shit. You know what I'm saying? That they seen some other chick who it ain't original, and these motherfuckers is falling in love with a person who don't even love themselves. You know what I'm saying? I can say this generation probably got more people that don't love themselves than who more suicidal and got way more mental issues, and they are highlighted because of social media versus motherfuckers back then. If a motherfucker killed himself, you didn't even know why.
Yeah.
You asking questions. You like, bro, what the fuck? What the hell's going on with this motherfucker? Now you know. You know what I'm saying? So it's got its pros and its cons. And so what if I'm long winded? You ain't call in. You know what I'm saying? Who cares? You ain't got nothing to talk about. Otherwise, you'd be on the line. Anyway, somebody in the chat talking about long winded and shit. That's cool. You call in. But I mean, that's just how I'm feeling about it, bro. I mean, it's got its pros and its cons. The cons is it's probably helping you get better business plans. It's probably helping you, reach out to people you probably couldn't have gotten in touch with before, and actually learn something, which is cool. So I'm not gonna totally bash it, So I mean, you can get on YouTube and learn how to motherfucking fix a car. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, you could change your spark plugs. You never knew how to do that. Get on the spark plug, find your car, find the make and model. Boom, you can take care of it. So, I mean, it's cool in certain realms, but it's important to who uses this shit and how they use it. You use it the wrong way, you're gonna get some results you really ain't even trying to. You're not even really trying to have, and you'll be looked at a certain way. But then, you just may come out on top, learn some shit, use that shit for the greater good, and it take you somewhere that you didn't even think was possible. Like Soulja Boy, this nigga just put out a video on YouTube. Look where he at right now. He may be lame to a lot of people, but at the end of the day, the man that he put himself out there. He took a risk on himself. Somebody thought the shit that he was doing was popular enough the way it could sell, and the man that made a boatload of money, then went on tour, then probably fucked a whole bunch of bitches that he couldn't have if he wasn't in the position that he was in. So it's what it is.
Oh, okay. So you're talking about using the tools now that are available to you to improve your lifestyle. Do you think most people are just utilizing this just for clout and not thinking long term, not thinking about building something, making investing in themselves or finding a purpose?
What happened? What'd you say?
I was saying using the internet as a technology to improve your life, and like you said, you can use it to fix your car, that'll save you a little money here and there, and other things that you can do with it. But do you think most people just use it for entertainment or just bullshitting as opposed to improving themselves?
I mean, they use it for whatever they got to use it for. I mean, you can use it for entertainment. You can use it to connect with people that you ain't seen in a minute. You know what I'm saying? You can use the shit and just be a true creep. If that's what you want to do, because motherfuckers out here, I mean, it's like I say, it's just totally dependent upon the person. So, hey, I mean, it's not really for me to say why a person would do it. I know why I use it. I don't mind showing my accomplishments. I don't mind showing off my work. I don't mind showing how beautiful my family is, because I'm a family man. So I don't mind people seeing what I get to do as they done seen me grow, and they see where I was versus to where I am now.
Okay. All right. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I don't be trusting the internet. That's why I don't be posting too many pictures. Like, motherfuckers on the internet be trying to do too much, and I hate to have to do something to somebody.
I will say, man, this creepy bit, and this I just want to share this story, and this is where social media is motherfucking scary, bro. Now, it's a chick that was on Love and Hip Hop. I bullshit you not. She was on Love and Hip Hop. I think her name was Prima Donna or some shit like that. She was a dark chick. She used to do some shit like for waist training. So for anybody that knows who that is, y'all, some people in the chat might actually know who this is. They may follow him or whatever. Now, my youngest daughter, bro, she wasn't even my youngest daughter. I don't even think she was a year old at this time. I bullshit you not. I don't know how this happened. I think because a couple of websites had posted pictures of our children, like on, but they got our permission and shit like that to do that, because, it's just saying like cute kids and shit like that. And this bitch took a picture of my daughter and put it on her motherfucking Instagram page and was claiming my daughter as her own. And I looked at her kids. I was like, for one, I was like, you don't look like them at all. And like, she was entertaining comments. Me and my wife, we found out about the shit because somebody informed us that knew us, was like, hey, man, this chick got a picture of you on her Instagram profile. Me and my wife charged her up. And it was just like, for one, like, bitch, you on Love and Hip Hop. Like, how in the hell, for one, how did you even see this picture, for one? And two, like, even entertained when people was in the comment section asking you, oh, she's cute, she's such and such, she's this, she that, and you going along with it and had the nerve to jump fly and catch an attitude with me and my wife in the comment section. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, like we started watermarking photos, all kinds of bullshit. So, like, I tried to safeguard. You try to safeguard my kid. I'm proud of my kids.
Yeah.
I don't mind showing off my kids, but you just gotta watch what you do, because you never know who the fuck doing, and you never know what can happen until you don't know what can happen until this shit happen to you, bro.
Exactly.
And literally, this bitch prima donna, she did this shit like 4 years ago. I couldn't even believe that shit. I couldn't believe it, bro. It was unbelievable.
That's tough.
What positions you to what would even possess a person to even screenshot a photo? It's one thing if you screenshot a code and be like, oh, I seen a picture of this kid on this list and she was just so adorable. That's one thing. And they had like my wife's information and everything in there because it attaches you to who sends in the pictures and shit like that. And for her to even do some shit like that, you just like, what?
Yeah,
that shit don't make no sense at all.
That's wild right there. That's what I say. Some sick people out there. That's why I say I'm real cautious about. Me, I don't care. That's why I say I ain't got every now and then. I really don't even post a lot of pictures myself. I'd be skeptical posting pictures of Scotty, goddamn it. But it's just because there's so many crazy motherfuckers out there, man. And that's why I say it's just like I say, everything be cool and kosher. But I just when it gets personal, when it gets on certain things, the behavior changes, and it's just like, so I try to avoid shit like that. That's why y'all don't really see me post a lot of personal shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of the way I am, because I know most folks on the internet, they get real weird. I mean, that's crazy that even happened, man. And that's the thing, that's the wild part about it. You said that she tried to charge y'all up and get mad about it. Like, bitch, you did wrong. Like, what the fuck is wrong with
you?
But it's, again,
right.
It's sick men, sick women. That's on the same level of that creep life shit you was talking about. There's creeps in other ways. So that's
motherfuckers is cut from a different cloth in this era. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta watch who you're talking to. People do some things that just is highly questionable, and you just got to get away from that element before you end up in a situation where you don't even get to be in your kid's life like that. Because when it's go time for certain shit, you got to take care of that. But situations like that one, you can't even predict when something like that could even happen.
Yeah.
And that's what's so scary about it.
That's wild. That's crazy shit.
And you know what? It took her a week. And it's funny. I'm looking at Heidi say something. She refused to take it down. Tell me why it took this bitch. I want to say it took this bitch 8 days to take down the post.
Yeah. Because you know what? And what it is, what's so crazy is this clout. It's this all this love they get. And that's what I don't understand, even with the photoshoppers and all that. Because they're getting all this love for something that they ain't even really do. But they just want all that love and that attention that comes with it. Like, there's no shame in people. You know what I'm saying? They want love for something that they did not, they didn't, they had no part in. And that's the wild shit. That's the wild shit about it.
Yeah, man. It don't make no sense, but man, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get about this phone call. Let somebody else get in. Hey, and let me know if we gonna do a sauce or something like that.
Yeah,
man.
yeah. Man,
I want to get in.
Yeah. I definitely want to. I'm gonna hit y'all here in just a minute. I meant to, man. I got my day started a little bit late today. I had to run and take care of some other stuff, and so. But yeah, I'm gonna shoot y'all a message after this stream.
Damn, 4 months?
Hmm?
What the fuck? Heidi said it was 4 months. She said the shit took she said they had to get hire lawyers and everything. What the fuck? damn, I want to hear. Damn, I wish Heidi would call in and drop some knowledge on that situation because that shit is absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, I'm finna get on up out of here, bro.
All right, that's a bad wink, man. I appreciate you calling in, man.
Already, man.
Bet that. Yeah, that's wild. But part of that too is Heidi is a racist. So when Heidi says friends, she means AI generated content. And have y'all seen that? Have you seen that shit? Have y'all seen the AI generated content? Like there's like artificial intelligence that just creates like faces of people. You know what I'm saying? That creates faces of people, and it looks like real people. Like not even a deep fake. Deep fakes is another thing, but it's like they just, it's purely AI content. Like they've generated like random people, so it's not even real people, but they just make faces, and it looks like real people, like profile photos, and so it's wild. I'm telling y'all, man, we living in a wild day and age. You gotta look. Like I ain't finna get all the way into it, man. Well, are you calling the right number, Nacho? Cause I'm waiting, man. I'm waiting, but I don't see nothing. I'm not seeing anything in. I saw somebody calling in earlier from a different area code. So if you want to call in, definitely get that in. Very interesting. I see D Love and Miss Danny B more talking about the interracial aspect. We're gonna have to have that conversation again too. It's a couple of things we need to talk about. I don't know, because I have some topics lined up for this week, but I don't know. We can talk about that. Y'all want to talk about interracial dating tonight? Because I know somebody I think it was Miss Meat the other day that said I want to say we had the interracial topic. It might have been a few months back. I don't know if it was in October. I think we had one in October. Might have had one more recently, but I know there's a lot of people who've come in and you know what I'm saying, maybe we can talk about that if y'all want to talk about that tonight. If not, I'll stick with the plan I had already, because I know a few people have talked about wanting to talk on interracial dating and things like that. But here we go. What's the motherfucking deal? Who do we have calling into the den this afternoon?
Hi, this is Danny B. Moore.
Miss Danny, how are you doing this afternoon?
I am just fine.
Okay.
Wow. I've been listening to this, for a little while. Thanks for taking my call. This is one of the few times I get to call in. I happen to be off today. I don't even know where to start with that last phone call with the black women, and them fighting and doing all this stuff. Black men been doing this stuff forever to women. So now you're going to say because the women have turned the tables and I'm not even a fan of all these people, like a Cardi B, and women like that. You trying to turn the hoe into a housewife thing. I'm not even into all that, but at the same time, these women have learned how to hone in on the market and cut out a piece for themselves instead of the men using them turning it around, using it the other way. And so I didn't understand his point, with that. These women, you don't know them personally, and whether you think they thought or not, and they out there shaking their ass, making videos and all this stuff. It's crazy. I never knew what an Instagram model is because I wondered what the hell are they modeling. I mean, I had my own, differences with some of the stuff that people do online, but to generalize, the women, all together who are just trying to, maybe some of them trying to put themselves to school, like Megan Thee Stallion, some of them trying to take care of the kids, they family, buy their mama a house, or pull them up out in abusive relationships or families that they've been in growing up all their life. So I kind of, look at that like that. And as far as all of the generational stuff, it's like somebody like Future. I can like a Future. I can like part of his song, But I ain't got to marry the motherfucker. I ain't got to get bid with him. I I don't have to have his political views. And I think that's where everybody gets mixed up, thinking that again, if you're not with them all the way on everything in their life, everything going on with them, you are somehow against them. You against the culture. You against black people. If you're black, I don't have to agree with everything somebody does. I don't have to, like Donald Trump. I'm not fucking him. I don't, you know, I'm not his wife. I don't have to be the one to listen to all that other bullshit. But motherfucker, are you creating jobs? Are you doing the right things for the country? That stuff right there, keep doing what you're doing. Hell, Clinton was in there getting blowjobs every fucking day. And Hillary didn't have a problem with that. So, so I look at it like I don't need a motherfucker to be the best person in the world to do their job. I just need them to be able to do the job that they're hired for. I don't all that moral and interpersonal relationships in their personal life. None of that has anything to do with how they do their actual job. You don't think you can be a doctor, the greatest heart surgeon in the world, and be a hoe on the side to your wife? Or the same thing where, you can be school teacher of the year and fucking kids in the same. It's all kinds of things. You can be the best cop. You can be officer friendly, saving the dog this week and pulling somebody out of a burning house and be selling drugs the next week. You don't have to like every single thing about a person for them to be able to do their job. And that's where I think this whole thing, church, state, politics, get all fucked up at. And it gets all, twisted up in the middle.
Well, okay, that's a very interesting take. So people are dynamic. That they're not all just at one side. They're not always exactly with that job title. And it's funny that you talk about that teacher. They just caught a teacher down here in Texas, and she was on Pornhub, and they caught her posting a bunch of videos and stuff. She was posting videos in the classroom, and so I think somebody saw the class and knew the classroom, and ended up reporting her, so she lost her job. But okay, that's very interesting. So, but with the go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, like, you look at somebody like Colin Kaepernick. First of all, you ain't the only motherfucker who grew up in foster care, but you actually grew up in a privileged foster care. You ain't grew up in the hood foster care like most of the other black kids and everything. So for you to turn around right now and all the shit that he on and everything, like all of a sudden the world, it's always the motherfucker that's pushing everybody else to do something is the motherfucker that ain't doing shit themselves. He ain't having he can't name a bad experience he had with police or military or like any of this other stuff. But it's like that Al Qaeda person. They want you to put on the suicide vest while they give you the direction. They not putting it on themselves. They want you to go out there on that traffic stop. They want you to go out there and fight the police and do all this stuff and get yourself hurt, but they not doing it at all. And they don't have these interactions. And he's sitting up there, he black this and that, now he wearing an afro. Motherfucker, Nate, show me a picture in your life where you had an afro growing up. Then I can support it. You using the afro now as a gimmick. Because now you ain't got to pay for nothing. Everybody giving you everything. Using it as a gimmick. And at the same time you for all this black love, black power stuff, you sitting there with a blonde hair, blue-eyed Becky. It is what it is. And I don't have nothing against white people or interracial relationships. But don't be faking the funk. He's sitting up there. It's like black men, all of them. Like Chris Brown just had a thing this weekend where he talked about black women with good hair. Or women with good hair. He don't want to date a woman unless she got good hair and everything. But so what are you saying to all the other women with their natural hair or anything like that? So you got this double standard, and I'm like, I don't, and that's where I say you don't have to like everything personally about a person. because I think Chris Brown is a crutchball, but I like some of his music. I think Future is a whole. He got babies everywhere, but I like some of his music. So I'm not, in the world dissecting everything about their interpersonal life to say that somehow this person is so messed up that I can't do nothing for him. And the same people he's talking about, them thoughts, the last call was talking about all them thoughts and people on Instagram. Well, didn't BT just do a whole thing for Cardi B? Wasn't she a thought on the poll? I'm just saying stuff like that. So the people who, you got to be worried of the person sending the message. The people who are trying to carve out your political views or trying to manipulate your political views and ideas for their own purposes. And that's that's just my thoughts on that.
Okay. But how do you feel when you say about those people? Are they required to deal with their own consequences? It's kind of none of our business. Because, like I say, you look at the Instagram models, and they put themselves out here in a particular way. Then eventually, they have children or whatever else it may be. And once this stuff hits the internet, it is what it is. And their children look at hey, well, mom was this. This is how mom came up. Do you think that provides a bad standard for the children, or do you think that's just something people have to deal with as individuals?
I'm gonna tell you. Oh yeah, it definitely provides a bad standard for the children. It provides, it's almost hopeless watching these children grow up in that environment as a whole. I mean, I don't think I have an issue. I have 3 boys, and I have 3 young black men that I'm raising, and I don't think that I have the issue with my kids because I am consistently in their life. I was watching something today on YouTube, and it was a young man in court, and he was there for shooting up somebody's house, to kill a little girl, Denai Scott, and everything after he shot up the house with like 35 bullets or whatever, and killed a little, I think she's like 12 years old in the house. He didn't have a family. He didn't have his mom. There wasn't nobody there in the courtroom for him. So when I look at stuff like that and everything, it absolutely is destroying, these families. But black men have to take responsibility for their own shit. And that's the bottom line. Everybody talking about this generation. This stuff ain't just start this generation. This stuff been going on generations before. When my father was a whippersnapper out there in them streets, running around, thugging and doing whatever he was doing, he left my mom out there with us, with 4 of us, to take care. And I used to be mad at my mom for a while for having to do everything and not understanding why he wasn't in a picture and everything. But then as I got older, and I learned things, and I realized he wasn't in the picture because he didn't want to be. He didn't have time for that. And that is what the black man, and I'm born in 1970, so that's what the black man has done. They have abandoned the family. They have abandoned that black woman, or not even going to just say black. I'm going to just say men in general have become so comfortable because everybody's pretty much on the same level playing field right now. Men have felt so comfortable going out in the street, trying to get their own thing, be it drugs, robbing, or doing whatever they're doing, that they have put money before the family, and they have abandoned their families. They have abandoned their kids. They have abandoned their women, and they have left those women to fend for themselves. And then when it comes down to it, when I gotta eat, I gotta eat. I got this baby to feed. I got a teenager to feed. They need shoes. They need clothes. The woman has to be the one, is the decision maker. And that's because a black man failed, or the men in general failed being the decision maker and taking care of the home. So when those women are on, Instagram, I don't agree with all the stuff they doing on Instagram and all those things. And like I said, but they got to do what they got to do also. And I can't knock them for it. I listen to people like Meryl Streep, all these other Hollywood bigwigs, weighing in on their political views and all that stuff. I can like anything about you. I can like a movie you did, and I still think you fucked up on this side. It just is what it is. But everybody, you have a vote. That's your constitutional right to vote how you choose. But everybody feels for some reason they got to explain their vote. They got to explain why they feel about this. They got to explain why they feel about that. The other caller was saying something about you don't hear about the black, Republicans and this and that because you don't need to explain yourself. When you go to the booth, vote for who you want to vote for. And why everybody have all these things where you have to make yourself appeasing to everybody. So every award show, I stopped even watching award shows because everything is a gimmick for somebody to get some press by doing their own by saying something negative. The whole 4th of July parade, all of this stuff. I thought it was patriotic. I'm a military service member and everything. And to me, it was all patriotic. You have flyovers at games, you have air shows, you do all of this stuff. You already have 4th of July parade. So the extra stuff was somehow doing what to our country? Not representing our country. I don't understand all that. But we need to stop letting entertainers and Hollywood rappers, musicians dictate what's cool for us and what's the way and tell us how we should think. I don't subscribe to any of that. And I'm not a Democrat or Republican. I'm a vote for who's the best choice. Black, white, Mexican, don't matter.
Okay. Got a question for you, Ms. B. Moore, because I hadn't talked to you in a minute. Did you get a chance to see those the Democratic debates?
Yeah, that was a joke. That was so stupid. Oh my God, Kamala Harris is the worst. She's an idiot. I'm like, they jumped all over Sarah Palin. They really should have been in their stuff. I mean, it was the worst. And it's like y'all sitting there annihilating each other over, and none of you have a clue. All you're doing is regurgitating the same thing over and over and over again. So you're actually trying to send this country into a civil war over racism when you've already had a black president. Reparations. So again, who gets to decide reparations? So do you have to be, so what, we all got to do DNA tests to decide our actual heritage and, decide like, okay, your family was, in this particular part of the state or that particular part of the country and, you got 5%, you got 10, so you get 2, you get 3. I mean, who gets to decide this? This is the stupidest shit ever. At some point, every country has gone through building, and some bad things have been done, but that's what history is for, to document and to not keep reliving. You've got to, at some point, let this go and move on, because anybody in my family that was a slave is not alive. I don't know anything about them. My great grandmother wasn't a slave. They lived through some hard times, and I don't, want to, take away from anybody who went through any kind of racist struggles. But at some point, you cannot hold every child accountable for their father's actions. You can't hold people accountable for their grandparents, for their grandmothers, for their moms. You cannot keep holding because you're white automatically, if somebody you knew had a plantation, now all of a sudden you're all the way bad and you should spend the rest of your life giving everything away that you earned and worked for your whole life because you owe somebody something. That doesn't make sense. At some point, you have to move on.
Okay. I don't don't think I have anything else to add besides that. Anything else that's on your mind, Miss B. Moore?
Oh God, it's always stuff on my mind, but I'm gonna let somebody else speak. So I'm not too long-winded here, and I'll be checking in later.
All right. Well, I appreciate you calling in, Miss B. Moore, and thank you for calling.
All right, thank you.
All right, gentlemen. Okay. I think that's the one general consensus that everybody does have. We disagree on all kind of stuff in here, but I think the one thing that everybody does agree on is that I don't think anybody is supporting Kamala. And we talk about society and personal beliefs. Society been pushing Kamala real tough, but I've yet to see anybody say that in here that they support her. What's the motherfucking deal? Who do we have calling in to the den this evening?
Hey, it's afternoon and it's Belle. How you doing?
Miss Bell, how you doing? You're like, I'll be lost. It's dark in here. I can't tell. It is the afternoon. Well, how you doing, Miss Bell? What's on your mind?
All good.
Oh, today.
Doing fine. Just kind of wanted to come back about some of the things that the last caller was saying because I just didn't get it and rather ask and get an understanding. She was talking about how I'm not exactly sure how to phrase it, whether black men are no good or they're this, that, or the other thing. But one of the comments about Cardi B, I'm not a fan of her music, but I can't hate her hustle. For the fact is, if somebody gave her a platform to do what she does, she's able to pay for her family to do what she's got to do. Do I like what she's doing? Do I like what it represents? Not exactly. It's not my cup of tea. But that's the freedom in America, is that we're able to do those things because we're given those platforms. Just because we don't like it doesn't mean we have to hate the person that's doing it because they're getting their hustle on. I'm of the same age as the last caller, so I do kind of understand about the fact of I don't see it as just being black men leaving their families. It was the time that we grew up in was the time that divorce was starting to really come about. Mid 70s to throughout was the breaking down of the American family. It was never the same when divorces were granted so easily, and not that they shouldn't have been, but it changed the dynamic of the American culture across the board. As far as what was the topic for today too, because that seemed to get past me.
It was a person, basically man versus society. So your individual beliefs versus society's beliefs. Where do you draw the line at? What's best for society, and you value your personal beliefs more so, or are you 100% personal beliefs, or should you always do what's best for society? Just kind of how you feel about your own thoughts versus what society's pushing.
Okay. Personally, I think it's more about boundaries than it's about beliefs. Beliefs is something that we take with us. Boundaries is where, okay, this is where the buck stops and I'm not going past this point, or you've crossed a line and I've been offended by X, Y, Z. I think interracial dating conversation tonight would be great because that's sort of in my ballpark. But on the same note, I think that people can be stereotyped no matter what is going on. The caller, I love the fact that she was very verbal about how she felt about things, but I felt that it was conflicting by what she was saying. It was like she was talking about being upset that Cardi B is showing all the sexuality, but yet she was also talking about the fact that women had to get hustle on because men weren't always there to complete the family. So that's where I guess I just didn't completely understand where to follow the line of what she was talking about. And I mean it as no disrespect. It was just kind of all over the place. It's one of the things I've had to do is be authentic. It's like take a stand and this is what I feel. It doesn't mean I don't see the other side of it. It just means that hate what's going on, but don't hate the person that's going on behind it because they're trying to get what they need to get for their family to do what they got to do. Do I understand Instagram models? Hell no. But, the thing is 20 years ago, Instagram wasn't even a thought. Things in society and technology and communications have changed so much and so quick that we're not even keeping up with it intellectually, property-wise. A couple of the callers were talking about photos being stolen. It's not unusual. I mean, even people who are legitimate photographers and big-time photographers have had their stuff pirated. It's not good. It's not cool. But the thing is as a society and with more communication available, we're seeing that it's happening to more people. It doesn't really mean that it's actually happening any more than it already had. It's just more visual to everybody across the country to see that it's going on. Does that make sense?
No, I got
I'm
it.
trying to.
No, I got you.
But like I said, when it comes to belief systems, I think that as long as you are solid in yours, but we don't offend others, and sometimes you can't help but offend others by staying strong in your own, but doing your best, that's all we can do sometimes.
Okay. I agree. I mean, and I kind of get it. Like I say, I guess, and again, I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth. Just saying that is ultimately people have to do whatever they have to do, even though you may not like what it is that they're doing. But really, it's up to them to take care of whatever issues or problems, bills, whatever's best for them in their lives to make advancement for themselves. To stay. What's the word I'm looking for? To basically eat, you know what I mean? And so I think that's kind of more or less where it was going.
Yeah, I definitely believe that. And the other thing is as the woman said, if you're parenting your kids and you're staying with them, then they're going to be in check in line with what your value system is as being a parent. It's when there's absent parentism that the kids kind of go amok because there's no structure. And that's a whole nother story about boundaries and issues. As far as Kaepernick, is that his name? Colin?
Oh, Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah. I don't know a lot about that situation, but what I just have a problem with is there's a guy from Grey's Anatomy. He does a lot of something Jackson. He was saying something very political at one of the award shows. And I have no problem somebody promoting one of their ethnic sides, but when you're biracial or you are multicultural and you are on a pedestal about one of your ethnicities, you leave part of your other self out. And it doesn't mean that you're any less than because you have other things in you and you're not pure, but the thing is that when you represent, you're representing from a whole and not all of who you are. So sometimes it comes across to me as being a bit hypocritical.
Okay.
Because when you talk about another culture and that's part of who you are, which side are you actually taking? And there's no stand and there's no boundary and there's maybe a belief system, but is it wishy-washy or is it concrete?
And that's very interesting because I've always wondered about that, and that's something that I found interesting when you have the multicultural aspect. That people tend to favor one side. Usually, if it's some type of mix with black, it's usually the black side that they promote the most or that they stand for. But to me, I'm like, well, that's not all that you are. So why don't you embrace it in its totality? But you see. Just want to, and I think I think I'm gonna save some of that because I think we will have that interracial conversation tonight. And I think we can kind of implement some of that too because I think a lot of that plays into it also. But I think
it's not really just dealing with dating; it's dealing with society. I mean, I've had black women hate me because I was with a black man. Well, honest to God, I was the third wife. His first two wives were black, so he decided to change flavor. No big deal. But when we went out, all they saw me as being the last one there, so I was the one that got the looks.
Yeah. Okay.
And, it is what it is. People who are going to be who they want to be with. But it's how they represent themselves. We don't have to like it, but as my husband used to say, you like it, I love it. Unless you're doing something that's going to hurt me. That's not okay.
Okay.
So, got anything for me, or are we all good?
I think we all good. Any other questions? I'm gonna save for tonight.
Okay. All right. Talk to y'all then, and back to the boards.
All right, Miss Bill. I appreciate you calling in.
All right.
All right, interesting. Yeah, I think we shall have that conversation this evening. I think it should be very, very interesting. I think we'll take one more before we wrap it up. Y'all got like a minute and a half, or whoever's the next caller. That's gonna be the last one. So yeah, tonight I think we'll have that interracial. Maybe we'll expand it. Maybe not just interracial dating. Maybe we'll just, how we doing it then. We'll start off with something to kind of venture into the other lands. But I think we will have that conversation tonight. So it should be very, very interesting. I think it's going to be very, very. Because I think the last time we had it, I can't remember if it was before or after the Jesse thing, and the dynamics of the den have changed from the Jesse thing to the Malia thing. So it's that has been the two most significant times of growth in the den, and the conversation has definitely. All right, we'll take this. This will be our last call for the afternoon den. Well, what's the motherfucking deal? Who do we have calling into the den this afternoon? Okay. I don't know why I hung up there. Now, I'll give that person a chance to call back. I'm not sure why it hung up. And so we'll save this. We'll save this caller for the last caller, and then we will we'll go with that and give it a minute or so to call back in. But yeah, I think it's gonna be a very interesting conversation. I'm looking forward to this because some of these conversations, there's a lot of conversations that we've had before, but I think that when you have a lot of new people that come in, it's always good to see their insight, to hear their thoughts on things. So on some of these topics. So whoever just called in, I'll give you about 30, 45 seconds maybe before I'll take that last caller, and if not, we're gonna wrap it up. So yeah, very interesting. I don't know. Here's my thing too, and I kind of agree with what Ms. B. Moore was saying, is because my thing is this: hey, you got to do whatever the fuck you got to do to survive, whether I like it or not. If I'm not supporting you, if I'm not, in your space, then it really shouldn't even matter what I think, because it's a lot of people who don't like a lot of the things that I say and on certain issues, and if that's all they feel and that's the only thing they're going to take away from it, well, I don't give a shit. I mean, that's their option to be mad. Again, the thing about it is, like I say, everything ain't for everybody. The den ain't for everybody. Honcho ain't for everybody. If you like it, if you love it, well, then I appreciate that. If not, I'm not going to go out of my way to appease somebody who probably that's not going to give a shit about you anyway in the first place, right? So, again, no big deal. Okay, we'll wrap it up. This will be the last call. I'm going to go till we do the last little automated dilly-dally. Y'all just go call in with some randomness. That sound about didn't like, just random, nothing to do with the topic. So, there's that. But here's my deal. Okay. And kind of trying to bring it back to where it was as far as personal versus societal beliefs. And Miss Bell had a very good perspective when she said beliefs versus boundaries. And I think that's what a lot of us are dealing with. I think that can be tied into Mrs. B. Moore's calls also, where she was saying that, that one side of an individual can do a lot of great things. And then, the other aspect of it can be doing some things that society may not look upon so favorably. Does that take away from what a person does? Is that taken away from, if I'm not even going to go to the Dave Chappelle. I'm not going to go to the Dave Chappelle reference. Y'all already know what I'm talking about if you've seen the Dave Chappelle stand-up about Bill Cosby.
because we did a lot of great things for a lot of people, right? But he did a couple of things that people were not too keen on, you know. So does that take away from all the negative that it is? Is it you know, you see a lot of people now who are going back after certain individuals who were legendary in what they did for society, for either civil rights or for the country as a whole, but then they go back and they find, well, this person had a little bit of a dark side to them. This person had a little bit of shout out to Bane from last night. They were born in the darkness, but and everybody does have a little bit of a dark side, right? Everybody has a little bit of a negative. I have a dark side. You have a dark side. All of us have a side that we generally keep to ourselves, I think, for the most part. But it may not be looked upon so favorably for society. Some of us may have had more of a dark side in our past. Some of us may have grown out of that. Some of us may have not fully ventured into it. I think that, again, there's a lot of it. But do the negatives take away from the positives? I mean, if you still did great things, we were talking about the symbolism of the Confederate flag. So if a person who has a Confederate flag on their vehicle or on their shirt or something, and they go out and say there's some drowning black kids in a pool, and they go jump in and save, 2 or 3 of them in a lake or whatever it may be. Say their jet ski is capsized. Are people only going to see that Confederate flag, or are they going to see the actions in which they saved the lives of these children? Are they still going to be labeled a certain way? I think that is the problem. I think that is the problem a lot of us have, is we see something and we label. And that's a problem, like I say, in society. But are labels necessary? Future topic. Are labels necessary? But by labeling people, do we take away from the other aspects of it? Do we take away from the dynamic creatures that we are? Because again, in one aspect, we could be, in one person's eye, set of eyes, we see we're the greatest people that ever walked the face of the earth. And another set of people may say, I think those people are trash, they're scumbags, they're, this, that, and the third. It's a lot of people that I talk about that I am not a fan of, and I speak on them, or I speak on their actions. I try to speak on that. I try to focus on actions. Speak on their actions negatively. Sometimes I speak on people negatively, being honest. But does that take away from the good that they do for maybe another group, for another segment of society? A lot of folks may say, these rappers, they're trash. They're promoting a lot of this, that, and the third, and nonsense. But then if they're going out and giving back to people in need, or, buying shoes or whatever, I think that's a whole different conversation. But so some people who may have been the benefactors of those good deeds have a different light on them. They can do no wrong in their eyes, right? So, I mean, there's a lot of ways of looking at these things, right? There's a lot of ways of looking at these things that... Damn, it's for the tax writer. So you can't do good. You can't get credit for doing good, man. You know what I'm saying? You look, hey, let me get a good PR. Let me get some tax write-offs, and maybe do something nice for people, man. So it is what it is. Okay. But again, like I say, there's a lot of it that we have to look at. So we may have to. That might be a new future conversation. Let me. I'm gonna cut off the already. I'll just do it, man. Because like I said, I'm gonna get ready to wind this down. Got to get ready to take care of a couple of other things. So I shall do it the manual way. Cut that off. All right. So if you want to follow my personal social medias, you can go to Honcho HTX on Instagram and Twitter, the Twitters. I post on there from time to time, all kind of random musings and imagery. Make sure you hit that like button. That's the most important thing. Sharing is the most important thing you do, but that like button is extremely important. That subscribe button is extremely important. And a lot of people have been telling me they haven't been getting notifications. YouTube continues to do all this weird stuff. So make sure that if you hit that like button, that you hit the bell button, and that when you hit the bell button, there's like 2 of them. There's like a hollowed out bell, and then there's like a fully colored in bell.
make sure that you have the fully colored in bell marked or checked, so that way you get, I think it's supposed to give you all of the notifications, but at least it gives you more of the notifications. So that way you can, hopefully YouTube will send that out to you. So make sure you have the right bell checked on that to get all the proper notifications, because sometimes just clicking the bell doesn't do it. So make sure it's colored all the way in. Because again, it went from just subscribing then to clicking bells. Now there's 3 or 4 different bells, all that other crazy shit. So make sure that you have all of that done. Yeah, make sure to expand on that thought. But share it with your friends and not your family. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Den Show Live. You want to follow the show's social media, Den Show Live, on basically all the major social media platforms. Make sure you go to the Facebook page, like it. There's links in the description below if it makes it easier for you if you want to get to it. I try to have all the links in the description that you need as far as anything in reference to the channel, so it should be easier that way. You may have to read down a few lines, but the links are there. If you want to send an email, you can send it to denshowlive@gmail.com. Shout out to all of you who have been sharing a lot. It's not just topic ideas. Sometimes it's just, words of encouragement. Sometimes it's very valuable information. Sometimes it's news. All of these things, and I appreciate every one of you who takes the time out of your day, out of your life. Because we talk about time. Time is the most valuable asset that you can ever have. It's the one thing that you don't get back. And the fact that even if it's a few seconds, a few minutes out of your day, and that you're thinking about the Den folk or the Den show or me or whoever it may be, whatever your motivation is to that, and sending that information and sharing information, it is greatly appreciated. This week, Monday through Friday, 1 p.m., Den shows, afternoon Den shows, Den in the afternoon. And I stole the Slime and Ice Machine beat. I don't care. Sue me. Every night, 10 p.m. Central, Den Show Live, man. Den at 10. Make sure you check out the podcast. If you can't watch the show, you want to catch up on some old Dens, I have been uploading the previous Dens, the audio, to the podcast, so you can follow on your major platforms. Should be on iTunes, Google, Stitcher, most platforms, everything but Spotify. I still got to work on the Spotify thing. They haven't gotten back with me about why it was rejected last time. If you want to get you some of that lovely Den Show merch, go to denshowshop.com. You get you a variety of items and get you one of these fancy mugs. Get my what is that? Price is Right stroll on. Same mug that's in the background, shirts, all the things, the various weird shirts you see me wearing. The Honcho is my homie. The Den Folk shirt, the Friends in the Den shirt. There's a couple of shirts I have. Those they're too big, so I don't wear them because they look like fucking sleeping shirts. I still have those, but the definition of Den Folk shirt, there's a couple of shirts there, and there are women's shirts in women's colors. Is that a thing? I thought colors were for everybody. Who knows? Anytime you want to call, then 833-284, whether we're live, if we're offline, you can call. If I don't answer, leave a voicemail, send a text message. You can share memes, picture messages, screenshots. If you come across some news, a topic you think you would like me to cover, whatever it may be, you can send that to the Den line. That's always greatly appreciated. If you want to support the channel, you can always make a one-time donation via Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/The Den Show. I know folks ask about the super chats. The super chats are cut off, and we use Streamlabs to handle support for the channel, just because it's a little inconvenient, but a little bit more convenient. And I know people say, that the Streamlabs, that they missed part of the stream. I'm gonna fix that here within the next couple of days. They've added some features, so I'm gonna fix it to where you can also see the live streams on the Streamlabs page. So that way, if you go to Streamlabs, you're not missing any of the conversation when you're handling that. So I'm gonna fix that here real soon, probably by the end of the week, hopefully maybe before then. And shout out to all the Patreon supporters. You can go to patreon.com/TheDen if you want to support the channel, this community, the long-term success of this community. Shout out to Miss Grace, shout out to James, Tina Starry-Eye, Dan, the Man, Diana, Betty Spaghetti, Donald Trump, and Miss Goya. I appreciate the love and the faith that you have in this community as we continue to grow. But with that being said, I ain't clicked this button in a long time, just cause. Wow. Ha-ha. I just like looking at that because I did it. It's all good, Miss Empress. I'm just glad you're back, and I'm glad that you are okay. I'm glad that everything is well, and so it's good to see you. But with that being said, I appreciate
All of you. It is an honor. It is a privilege. It is a pleasure. Y'all don't understand. I say that and y'all like, oh, this nigga say this shit every goddamn time. I mean that wholeheartedly. I mean that sincerely. Just watching the den as it has grown. So all of the new folks, special shout out to the OGs, triple OGs, quadruple OGs who've been down since day one. Because, you know, sometimes, you know, people come and go. And I know a lot of y'all have seen, you know, folks that have been here that were real active that are no longer with us, or maybe they don't participate as much. And there's no fault in them. People have lives. You don't ever know what's going on, you don't ever know what is going on in people's lives. So this is not a knock on anybody. But I just want to say shout out to all the folks who have been fucking with the den from when it was the terrible Kush Den. Kush Den was terrible. To now where it's at now. And, you know, hopefully stay committed to this channel as we continue to grow. Man, just let y'all know that I appreciate y'all. Soon, look, we'll have some throwback dens eventually. I got a couple more goals to reach. You know, I got to get back on the growth. We got about what is it, about 4,100? So I got about 900 to go to get to the 5,000 goal, and a couple other things that I got to do outside of that to get that goal all the way right. But with that being said, I appreciate y'all, man. I'm sliding up out of here. Catch y'all tonight at 10. And for those who are asking about the sauce, there will be some sauce tonight. Hopefully we get you a recording and a stream today. And Sauce Sports is available on Facebook and on YouTube. I've been thinking about the den on Facebook, but I'm pretty sure as soon as we have that first live den on Facebook, they're going to block, cancel, and end that stream. So I'm thinking, Big Al. Ain't heard from Big Al in a minute, man. Man, Big Al. Wow, yeah. I gotta. Man. I generally don't be saving numbers because I don't want it to seem weird or anything, but there's certain ones I'm gonna have to say just for reference, so that way I know when certain people are calling in. I usually try to keep it random because, like I said, I don't want it to be weird, so I don't really save numbers or you know, keep any contact information or anything like that. Usually I can tell by area codes who's calling in certain numbers. You know, when y'all are regulars, I can tell. But man, I got to figure out how to see how Big Al is doing, man. Damn, yeah. It's been a minute. Big Al was a great dude. But with that being said, I appreciate y'all. We can slide up out of here, man. Y'all be cool like y'all be cool. I'm finna steal all your motherfucking pistachios, so guard your nuts. I'm out. Motherfucker. Man, I gotta see if I can go back and find Big Al's number, man. That's tough. I appreciate y'all. Y'all some cool people. All of y'all are cool except for like Heidi and Sweetberry, because Sweetberry is like a known pistachio thing. Like, I'm trying to figure out how Sweetberry just came up in the rankings so quickly. Y'all see what I'm talking about here in just a second.